It's really about to be 2020 and no flying cars yet? My imagination was too much SMH.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_Beeble and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. We are back 2020, a new year, the same show, hopefully the same information, hopefully the same lame-ass jokes that maybe gets at least some of you laughing. So we're going to talk about all of the games from New Year's Eve. We're going to preview the New Year's Day games. Michael Bolton, he is back.
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it indeed. Shout out to my partner for this, I believe the kids would say, a fresh haircut. So thank you for that. As you can see, new year, new me, new do. Same old bullshit. Let's get stuck into these games. The first game from New Year's Eve, the Indiana Pacers absolutely throttled the Philadelphia 76ers 115-97. Good game from Joshie Richardson. He had 20 points in his 30 minutes with 5 assists and 2 steals. He's available on too many waiver wires. 15% available on Yahoo. That's ridiculous. He shouldn't be available in any single league. Benny Simmons had 18 and 10 with actually some good free throw shooting, while Joel Embiid sat this one out, and Al Horford still couldn't get anything going. 5 points on 12 shots, 29 minutes. Now, based on actual performance from Horford at the moment, you'd have to say, well, is he getting close to a drop? I don't think he's getting close to a drop. But the fact that he performed this poorly in a game where Embiid was out, the fact that there's rumors or whispers that he's unhappy with his role in Philadelphia, there are legitimate concerns about what we can see from Horford for the rest of the way here. I don't think he's a drop, but I think it makes him an attractive buy low guy with the way that the shot isn't going in. Over the last 2 weeks, he's 154th ranked player. That's why I say he's trending that way. But still, over the course of the year, he's still the 70th best player. But those last 8 games, he's shooting 37%. Like, that's going to change. He's getting no steals. He's getting no blocks. The rebounds are down. He's scoring under 9 points per game. These are all really, really poor numbers. So now is the time that you can look at Horford and go really, really low on a trade. Now, the cock monster Kylo Quinn, he started in place of Embiid, 4 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks. That's really good from Cock, but we've seen multiple times when Embiid has been out that he's never been anywhere near that, so don't overreact to this too much. While Shake Milton got the best of the backup point guard minutes ahead of Trey Burke, who played 15. Milton played 16 here, and Hull Netu played 6. Milton, it's just one to watch for deeper leagues. He played well at the beginning of the season, then had a knee issue that kept him out, and looks maybe like he could be coming back into a decent enough role, while Toby Harris was putrid in this one. 9 points in 24 minutes. I talked about him on the Buy Low show the other day. This is just another feather in that cap, another reason where you can go out and get him at a much cheaper price than what his value overall may dictate. For the Pacers, Sabonis had 23 and 10 with 5 assists and a triple one. He continues to be great. Miles Turner continues to be not great. 14 and 5 in 24 minutes only. He did block a shot and shot 50% from the field, and the 50% from the field is encouraging, but still really, really annoying to see him play only 24 minutes with 0 fouls. I guess because my mate, the Dart, Goga Badadze.
Problem with my Gogo-mobile. Gogo-mobile? No, not the Dart. Not the Dart.
He was there. He played well. I think Goga's going to be a really good player in the NBA. Probably not going to come this year, but he absolutely is a dynasty type of guy you should be looking at. Tony Warren Jr. had 21 and 4. That is the most stereotypical Tony Warren line that I've seen. He shot 82% from the field as well. He continues to put up these numbers. When Oladipo eventually returns, there is going to be somewhat of a reduction there. Same with Jez Lamb, who only played 23 minutes. 13 points with 6 assists for Jezza. Malcolm Brogdon was back and then he wasn't. He played 8 minutes and had to leave the game with back spasms. We know that your back is connected to your hammy, and Brogdon is just a bloke who has really struggled to stay healthy throughout his career. I rail on, and you probably get sick. Josh, you're not a doctor. You're not in the NBA locker room. And I'm not. But the mistreatment of hamstring injuries in the NBA is a real problem. And it happened again here. And maybe I'm wrong half the time, but maybe I'm not. But there still appears, and this again backs up my statement, that they rush people back from hamstrings. It happens all the time. Also, another reason why you shouldn't automatically activate someone out of the IR unless you were talking about a top 20 type of guy, which I don't think we look at Brogdon as. But with him now dealing with back spasms, maybe he misses more time, maybe he doesn't. Aaron Holiday's the guy we look at. Holiday only played 31 minutes, only had 5 points, but 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. That's enough for me to look at and feel relatively interested in. Well, Dougie McDirt, 12 points for McDirt in his 23 minutes. Don't know why I mentioned him, just to give him, again, kudos for improving his aggressiveness and his play this season. The next game we look at, the Boston Celtics, they continued their role against the Hornets. Didn't win this one by 20, but did win it by 17. 109-92 in Charlotte. Jayson Tatum continues his run of beating up on piss-poor teams. 24-7, 4 triples, 3 steals, and a block for Tates, while Kemba had 22, 4 and 7 with 3 steals and a block. Kemba had been trending down a little bit. He detailed that on the Buy Low show with his absolute lack of steals and assists, and he boosted both of those back up, and what do you know, a good game.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
Enes Kanter, what? 6 blocks? That's a year's worth of work for Big Enes. 13 and 14, 23 minutes, 6 blocks. Now, ignore the 6 blocks because that's not real. But with Vincent Poirier, absolutely 100% my favourite name to say in the NBA, and the Rock DJ Robbie Williams still out, we're going to get these 22, 23-minute performances from Kanter. It makes him a must-roster 14-team league guy, and there can be some 12-team streaming ability, but this is absolutely on the high end. While Gordie Hayward had 21, 10, and 6. Marcus Smart started for Jaylen Brown. That's 2 games back since his eyes almost fell out, and he has shot under 30% in both of them. Under 25% combined in both of them. 7, 5, and 7 in this game, but the 7 assists, the 1 steal. He can still be of use in 12-team leagues, and this shooting will improve. Vanilla Tice had 5 and 6 in his 23 minutes, while Grant Williams' playing time has dropped a little bit. For the Hornets, just after I talked about Miles Bridges, how I'm done with him, he has 14, 10, and 4, a triple one in 32 minutes. And these are the lines that when I looked at Bridges and went, well, the opportunity is going to be there. I think he can do this. That I was hoping that he'd do more often. The problem is he's done it about twice this year. And so look at this and go, shit, that's good. Like the minutes are back up. The production's fine. Do I go and make an ad? Or will he just go out and, whip his dick out and turkey slap me as we move forward? Probably the latter, but there is still appeal there in Miles Bridges to put up those numbers. Paul Washington Jr. still significantly under-rostered, 15 and 5, 3 steals, 1 block, 3 triples. I don't love him as a high upside guy, but I do think he should be rostered. Devontae Gray, man, forget about your field goals. They're done. They're cooked. 25% from the field, 11, 4, and 7, while Rozier didn't do too much better. 10 points, 5 assists on 31% shooting. Biyombo and Zeller continue to provide low-end value as they split those center minutes. Well, the Baconator, Dwayne Bacon, got 18 minutes out of pretty much nowhere. And Nick Batum, you're done. You're cooked. You're finished. Your run as a Hornets guy is done. Let's move on to the next game. It is the LA Clippers, the Sacramento Kings, another blowout. The Clippers win 105-87. Paul George, his shooting is pretty poor at the moment, 24% in this game, but 21, 11, and 9 with 3 steals and 3 triples. He's a really strong game. While the fun guy, Kawhi Leonard.
I'm a fun guy.
24 points, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Now with both Lou Williams and Patrick Beverley out, George and Leonard combined for 16 assists. That's fantastic. They shot horribly, but good to see that playmaking there, while Mo Harkless had 12 and 7. If it's a Zubats, more minutes for Zubats, 8 and 13 in 23 minutes. I think we can establish this. Zubats is good, right? So if there's an opportunity for him to play good minutes, he's going to be a must-add play, but that's only going to come in a situation where Harrell is injured, or in this case, where it's a blowout and Harrell's recovering from an illness. Now, Montrez wasn't great here, 7 and 6 in his 24 minutes, but give Zubats 30 minutes a night. He's a top 100 guy. That's pretty much a lock. With Beverly and Williams out, Landry Shamet started. He didn't do a huge amount. 9 points with 3 threes. He is only a deeper league 3-point streamer, while Derek Walton had 10 points in his 19 minutes. For the Kings, big Richaun Holmes was great. Still available in way too many leagues. 22. You're in an 8-team league? Roster Richaun Holmes. 22 and 10, 1 steal, 3 blocks, 62%. This is a top 30 type of guy so far this season and didn't even begin the year as a starter. Yes, the Marvin Bagley situation was frustrating, but Bagley's out again, and let's all be honest, if we're self-assessing anything, Bagley is not just equal. He's not just marginally better. He is significantly better as an NBA player at the moment than Marvin Bagley. Will Bagley ever get to this level? I'm not convinced. But at this point, we're clearly in the Holmes' better area. Bud Hield, 26 and 5. That's good on only 41% shooting, though. While Nemanja Bjelica, 8 and 7. He has that short-term value while Bagley is out. Not a good night from Foxy. 9 points on 10 shots, but 6 assists and 2 steals do salvage that, while Bogdanovic, anytime you can give Trevor Ariza and Bogdanovic the same amount of minutes as a head coach, you've always got to take that opportunity, especially if you used to play alongside Trevor Ariza. Bogdanovic had 6-3-3 with 2 blocks. He's still a hold, but man, I'm not sure how long it's going to last, to be honest, but I am holding at the moment, while Harrison Barnes, the pencil, Barnesy, 8 points on 9 shots, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. You know where he can go? In the bin. Get rid of him in 10s, and I reckon he's a drop in 12s. Now, he's not a drop just for the sake of opening up a roster spot for no reason, but I don't really see it getting better for Barnes. It'll improve marginally from here, but Bagley comes in, takes his shots, and he just disappears. As any sort of fantasy option, Harry Giles had 6 points in 17 minutes with 2 steals. Played okay the last couple of games, but is very, very far away from being any sort of fantasy option. All right, let's go on to the next game now. It was a blowout victory for the Toronto Raptors against the Cleveland Cavaliers, 117-97. Chetty Osman had 14, 4 and 4 with 4 triples. A pretty strong game from Chetty, but he's nothing to get excited about outside of very deep leagues. While the Padawan Colin Sexton, I've said before, yeah, you couldn't get a more Colin Sexton line. Well, you actually can't get a more Colin Sexton line than this. 22 points with 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 3. Hit all 5 of his free throws, efficient from the field, but that is the issue with this guy, is that just inability to rebound or assist or generate defensive numbers or threes in high volume. Kevin Love had 10 and 11, while Tristan Thompson had 14 and 11. Thompson's numbers from the beginning of the season have dropped off. I really can't see him being much of a factor in the fantasy playoffs. Again, he's always a guy that I'd be looking to trade. Darius Garland had 12 points in 34 minutes here. That's not bad for him. That's really good, actually. But it's not a must-roster 12-team scenario. While Larry Nance, you can't hold him, I don't think, unless you're in a really strong position in a league. Middle standings, he's not doing enough to be a 12-team league guy. Kevin Porter got the minutes. He got the shots. 13 points on 17 shots. That's a 30% usage. He had 4 assists. We just needed those shots to go in more. I like him in 14-teamers at the moment, and he's a guy that I think will trend into 12-team discussions. For the Raptors, a change to their starting lineup. The Jedi, OG Anunoby.
Hello there.
Now, you know I like this guy, right? But he has not been playing well this season. And I put this out on Twitter once it was announced that he got benched for Rondé Hollis-Jefferson. I said, look, maybe he's trending towards a drop. The amount of people that came back, May's a solid hold, I'll definitely pick him up. This is a guy that is the 106th ranked player this season, 127th over the last 2 months, 174th over the last 2 weeks, including today's performance, and we still have to put Norman Powell and Pascal Siakam and Marc Gasol back into that rotation. When we had that little crossover when Lowry returned, we saw OG's minutes come down for Powell to get more minutes. I think that'll be the case. And if he's getting benched now with Powell out, with Siakam out, it's a worrying sign. He was shooting the lights out at the beginning of the season. We saw his defensive numbers, which are still strong, 1.1 steal and 0.8 blocks. In the last 2 weeks, those numbers are down. I'm not that worried about the steals. I think they'll come back up, but the blocks have dropped off since the beginning of the season, where he was averaging really strong numbers. He shoots low volume, really low usage guy. Field goal percentage is okay. Doesn't hit free throws. Doesn't hit volume threes. What's the point of him? I like him. I like him more than nearly everybody. Well, that's not true, because some people apparently are in love with this guy. He's the number one fantasy asset you got to have all over the place. I just don't see it. And again, I'm not looking at if you make the mistake and go, oh, Josh, you're a dickhead. This aged well. Look at this performance, 12, 7, and 4. Look at a couple of things. Again, no Powell, no Siakam, no Gasol. Against the Cleveland Cavaliers in a game where he shot 63% from the field and still only took 8 shots. So he went 5 of 8 from the field. What if he goes 4 of 8 from the field, which is still a good line? That means he has 10, 7, and 4. How many wristies are we giving each other over a guy that puts up 10 points? I just don't look. I think if you're in a battle type position in the standings, holding on to OG, waiting for these great numbers from the beginning of the season, which were a little bit unsustainable, with everything he's trending against him, I don't think it's a good move. Now, I'm never just saying drop someone, unless it's Kyle Kuzma. I'm not just saying just drop someone. But I don't think that he becomes this must-hold guy. Hollis Jefferson played 28 minutes, had 14 and 5, and Nurse did say after the game he's not sure whether OG will come off the bench or start, but he does want to mix his lineups more. And again, adding Powell and Siakam back into the mix is going to make things really bloody complicated. Pat McCaw played 22 minutes. He had multiple trips to the locker room with leg soreness, so Terrence Davis got more playing time. Davis is good. He's better than McCaw. 19 points in 25 minutes with 4 triples. They've got to somehow find a way for him to play as well. He's just a short-term stream type option, though. We also got another 15 minutes of O'Shea Brissett, who scored 1 point. I'm not really sure why he's playing as much as he is. The Waterboy, Chris Boucher, 2 and 6 in 16 minutes. Not a 12-team league guy. I think we're all across that at this point. While Ibaka had 20 and 10, and Lowry had 24 with 8 assists, and Van Vliet had 4 blocks.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
Imagine coming into a day of games and going, well, Enes Kanter and Fred Van Vliet will combine for 10 blocks. 2020 is lit, I think, as the kids might say. Maybe, sometimes. Let's go on to the next game. We're looking at the Golden State Warriors and the San Antonio Spurs. Goes to overtime. The Spurs win 117-113. No D'Angelo Russell, who was out with an illness, and then questionable with an illness, and then questionable with a shoulder issue, and then out with a shoulder issue, then doubtful with a shoulder injury, and then out with a shoulder injury. In the end, he didn't play with something they called an impingement, which everybody who has Kyrie Irving is shitting their pants. Now, I don't think it's necessary that we need to think that he's going to miss every single game that's played in Boston from here on out as he fakes a shoulder impingement. But it is obviously a worry with Russell dealing with that came on a hit that he received in the last game. In that situation, Alec Burks, if he's not rostered, you go and grab him. He had 28 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 triples, took a shit ton of shots and looked pretty good. He was losing minutes down from 30 to 26 with the lubricant Kai Bowman playing. As for Bowman, 9-3 and 3 in 21 minutes. His playing time didn't change even with Russell out, so not an ad. While the little dog, Glenn Robinson, got hot really early, ended with 25 points in 40 minutes, and Draymond had 10, 10, and 9, almost the Ray Felton triple-double there. Eric Pascal, the triangle, 18 minutes again. Now, I know he's had these hip problems and he's coming back from injury, but how long do we persist with a guy that I just don't think is that high of an upside player? I don't think that he's a must-hold 12-team league guy. While Marquise Chris started for Willie Cauley-Stein, no one denies that he puts up numbers. 7, 11, and 5, a steal, a block, 50% shooting. But those opportunities aren't always going to be there for him. Damian Lee's a tough one. He's actually playing really well. 20 points, 7 rebounds, 40 minutes. I do think that he is going to get a full-time contract this season, but it requires the waiving of Marquise Chris, which I don't think they're going to do, or a trade. So I think he's got about 8 days left on his two-way. They're going to try and maximize those, and there might be a week's time where he's not playing for this team, but he is going to come back at some point. So you add him now, and let's figure it out over the next couple of weeks what they decide to do with him, because it is a really interesting situation. Alan Smilagic, they love this guy. I think he looked pretty good. He's definitely a name to watch as we move forward. For the Spurs, Aldridge had 17 and 12 with 3 blocks. Great game from him, while DeMar had 24, 5 and 4 with 3 steals on 61% shooting. When DeRozan goes into these streaks of really high shooting, you always look to sell him. DeJounte Murray was struggling and then really cranked it up in the overtime. 15, 6 and 5 with 2 steals. He shouldn't be on a waiver wire, while Maximum Derek White.
Maximum Derek.
6, 5 and 4. 26 minutes is great, but there's just not the opportunities for him to be a 12-team league guy. Lonnie Walker made a defensive error. Pop got pissed and pulled him. I just don't think it's going to happen for him this season. I'm not actually ever convinced it's going to happen to him at all. I think he's significantly overrated as a fantasy player long-term, but I just don't think he's even going to get much of an opportunity this season, it appears. While Jakob Poeltl, only 15 minutes, and Bryn Forbes, one of his better games, 14 points with 4 threes, but that is still just like a 16-team league sort of a player. While Rudy Gay's hot streak came crashing down, 3 points in 19 minutes for Gay. The next game up for us to take a look at, the Denver Nuggets, they got their pants pulled down by the Houston Rockets, 130-104. Millsap was back. He played 27 minutes and had 13 and 9, 1 steal, 2 blocks. That's a vintage Millsap line. The problem with Millsap, he can still do it occasionally. We've seen it plenty of times. It's consistency. Consistency of minutes, consistency of production, which means, to me, he's not a must-hold 12-team league guy. Big Chungus had 21, 8 and 4 Nikola Jokic, while Farton Will Barton struggled his way to 10 points, but added 9 rebounds and 7 assists and a steal and 2 blocks. Michael Porter Jr. went from starting last game to coming off the bench and playing only 11 minutes, and I think 3 or 4 of those minutes came in garbage time at the end of the game. 7 points for Porter. I don't think he's worth a 12-team league ad. This is, again, Gary Harris was still out of this game.
Nice, Gary!
Now, we might actually have Gary come back in, or even if he is out of the lineup the next game, like, I think Porter could start next game. This was a bit, as much as putting Torrey Craig in to cover Harden than it was for Porter. But I think just by looking at this, it's not a matter of, it's just a matter of time before Porter takes Barton and Harris's minutes. He's going to be playing 30 a night. I don't think that's the case. I think once Gaz is ready to return, Porter will go back to his minimal role, much like we got Juancho Hernan-Gomez or Torrey Craig or Malik Beasley, who played 20 minutes here. Like, it's going to be hard for him to maintain enough value. If you picked up Jeremy Grant in 12-team leaguers, he can go once again 4 points in his 18 minutes here. For the Rockets, Jimmy Harden returned from his toe injury. Had some limping problems in this game, but man, 35, 3 and 6, 6 triples and 2 blocks. While Russ Westbrook, what is going on here? 50% from the field, 100% from the line, 28, 3 and 7. Apparently he can shoot now. That's interesting. How about my bloke, Isaiah Hartenstein? 18 minutes for the big Hart man. The Hart Foundation, 16 and 12, a steal and a block. This guy is good. I've talked about him for many years. Great international rookie translations, never had an opportunity. I think he's taken over the Tyson Chandler role. I think he's going to siphon minutes away from PJ Tucker. He's going to take Gary Clark minutes. And we might actually see like 34-minute Clint Capella, 10-minute, 12-minute Isaiah Hartenstein as we move forward. In a dynasty format, I think he can be a guy in a few years' time. Doesn't have to be on this team because 50% of the NBA changes teams every year. It'll be on another team. He could be a 25, 26-minute-a-night player for a couple of years and have top 100 numbers. He's absolutely someone to watch, and he should be grabbed in deeper leagues at this point. Capella returned 16 and 10. While I'm really shocked, but Eric Gordon with Westbrook and Harden back took 7 shots. This is the problem with him. This is why he's not a 12-team league guy. He did have 12 points and shot well, but 1 rebound, 1 assist. Colin Sexton's over there virtually high-fiving him as to that just unbelievable level of production. That is why I don't think Gordon's that guy. Macklemore lost a shit ton of minutes, and Dan House, who had big usage last game, dropped right off. 8 points in 31 minutes. Real tough to consider him a must-roster 12-teamer with Gordon back to take that value. While PJ Tucker, 1 shot he took. He missed it, but he took 1 shot. He had 8 boards. His numbers at the beginning of the season, I wrote about this for Yahoo, they were unsustainable. He was leading the league in corner threes from both sides. Maybe he still is. But it was unlikely to ever continue at like 65% or whatever he was shooting at. His rebound rate was up. He's like 35 years old and he's putting up career highs. That just should give you alarm bells. He doesn't help you in every category. There's certain things, and the way that rankings are set up, the categories that he helps in inflates his number. So you can look at him and go, "Oh, he's 80th best player, Josh. Why would you drop him?" Well, it's because he gets steals and his field goal percentage was up and he's hitting threes with all these low volume things, which inflates that overall value. I just don't think he's that valuable. I think he's fine. And it works on some teams. But if I saw PJ Tucker on the waiver wire, I wouldn't be tripping over my dick to go and grab him. I'd have a look at my team and go, well, if I miss out, what do I miss out on? 6 points and 7 boards. Like, big shit. Like, it's not that big of a deal to me. And in saying that, I don't think he's 100% a must-roster guy. Plenty of you who will listen to this are probably screaming, Josh, you're a wanker. Of course he's a must-roster guy. And that's fine. I just don't see it. I think he can be rostered, and there's absolutely no problem with it. I just don't see him as absolutely lock him in, bang, let's go. And he's going to give us this value as we continue to move forward in this NBA season. All right, let's move on to the last game of New Year's Eve, the last game of the 2019 portion of the season. The Dallas Mavericks go down to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder making a habit of making late comebacks and knocking off big-time opponents. This is, again, part of the reason why I just don't think that trades are going to be flowing in from the Thunder, and Adams is going to be gone, and Gallinari is going to go, and Chris Paul's going to go, because they were playing well, and they're likely going to make the playoffs, it appears, with this squad. Luka Doncic played in this game after leaving that last game with a neck, back, pussy crack type injury, but he was fine. 40 minutes, 35, 10 and 7. The shooting was an issue, 41% from the field, 67% from the line on 12 attempts, but otherwise still pretty strong. And then right as the game was about to tip off, Porzingis, he was ruled out. A late scratch with knee soreness. Now, it wasn't the knee that he had the ACL tear on. It just was something that flared up in the warm-up, so he was out. So we'll have to update that. I don't think it's anything serious, but we always have to be careful with a bloke with a frame like that has had lower body injuries. Maxi Kleber started in his place, 14 and 14 with 4 triples. That's only going to be useful, of course, if Kristaps is out. While Dwight Powell, maybe the struggles for Powell to begin this season were that hamstring that kept him out of all of preseason. 29 minutes, 11 and 4, 2 steals and a block. Now, that's not that exciting. It's not. His upside's low. But in a 14-team league, there's significant value there, and there is streamability for that in a 12-teamer. With Timmy Hardaway out, Jalen the Burner Brunson started, but it was just a matter of minutes going all over the place. 26 to Delon Wright, 26 to Seth Curry, 23 to Jalen Brunson. So nobody is a 12-team winner in that scenario. Seth had 9 points, all triples. Delon had 7, 3, and 2, and Brunson had 7, 2, and 1. So nobody is a 12-team ad with Hardaway out. Boban got some minutes with Porzingis out as well, 4 and 6 in his 11 minutes, while Dorian Finney-Smith, who'd been shooting well, did not shoot well. 6 points on 8 shots. For the Thunder, Gilgeous-Alexander's big run continued, 19 and 10 with 3 assists, 2 steals and a block. The shooting wasn't great, but at least he added the peripherals, while Chris Paul was scoreless for about the first 20 minutes of the game, ended with 17, 8 and 7 and a clutch jumper to take the lead late. He has been excellent this season after a slow start, while Dennis Schroeder returned and had 27 and 4 on some poor efficiency, but the minutes and the shots are still there. We also had the Italian cock returning.
Hands off my cock!
Gallinari had 20 points in 31 minutes, pushing Darius Bazley back to the bench, while Terrence Ferguson was pretty bad as per usual. He did have foul trouble, which limited his playing time, and we had MC Hamadou Diallo back in action.
Stop. Have a time.
I think that's going to cut into Ferguson's minutes. Not that literally anybody listening to this podcast cares about Ferguson's fantasy production. Nerlens Noel, he's good. As simple as that. 23 minutes, 12 and 12 with 2 blocks. I don't think Adams is getting traded. I don't think they can play together. And this is a situation where Noel got more minutes because Adams was in foul trouble. But it doesn't matter. Give him 20 minutes, 19 minutes a night. Nerlens is still providing enough value for 12-team leagues. It doesn't have to be your team because he's got a very specific set of skills that he uses. And that doesn't benefit everybody. But he should be on a roster somewhere. Whereas Adams 10 and 11 in only the 25 minutes. As for Diallo, he's a deeper league watch. He can produce in higher quantities than Ferguson. And if he starts to get more playing time than T-Ferg, then it is going to be something that we at least have to monitor. Let's look at some injury news now across the league. D'Angelo Russell with that shoulder injury, as I mentioned. Hopefully that's nothing too serious. And then a bit of an update on Zion Williamson. He looks like he's going to be back in action at some point in January. If he is on my waiver wire, I would be adding him unless I am at the bottom of the standings, and even then I might do it. I think he's going to be really good when he comes back. It's going to be an easy process. But again, the people who feared he wasn't going to return this season, I don't think that's real. Unless there's a setback, he is going to be back in the next couple of weeks, it looks like. Malcolm Brogdon had back spasms, which kept him out of today's game. He returned, played 7 minutes, and then was out. Rui Hachimura got a kick in the ball sack, and he is going to be out for more time. Flaming Mo Wagner is out for another 3 weeks. Davis Bertans is out for another week. Thomas Bryant out for a couple more weeks. Those Wizards big men, it's still a long way off them returning, even any of them returning. It hasn't been great at all in that scenario. So Jan Mahinmi, Anzej Pasechniks, the composer John Williams, they're going to continue to get minutes until at least one of these guys comes back. I wouldn't be holding Wagner. I wouldn't be holding Hachimura. I would hold Bertans, and Bryant I probably would hold. They're the 2 top guys out of that quartet of injured big men in Washington. Brogdon I've got on there twice for some reason. Jeff Teague with his knee injury, I've talked about that. Actually, I haven't talked about that because, hey, peek behind the curtain. I recorded the DFS segment before this. I will talk about it later, but it is curious to me that he left that last game with a knee sprain and then was able to return, and now they've ruled him doubtful with that same knee sprain. Of course, Shabazz Napier is the main beneficiary. Jarrett Culver might be an ad as well, with Andy Wiggins sidelined also, while Porzingis, that late scratch with the knee injury. If he misses any time, Kleber is going to be that guy that we add in that scenario. So let's now go on to talk about DFS as I'm looking at DraftKings pricing for New Year's Day's slate across the NBA. Okay, the first game for this New Year's Day 4-game slate in the NBA where we are looking at DraftKings pricing is, of course, the supernatural, the fantasy matchup between the Orlando Magic and the Washington Wizards. The spread is not out at this point because Bradley Beal is questionable, as is Aaron Gordon with his Achilles soreness. Of course, things change if those guys are out. If Beal is out, then you get your Jordy McRae's, your Garrison Matthews, who will not do what he did last game. Gary Payton, the big mitten, jumps in as well. With Gordon out, you get more Fournier, you get more Vucevic, you get more John Isaac as well. No one actually steps up. Maybe DJ Augustin becomes an option there in Orlando if Gordon is ruled out. At point guard, Fultzy's at 5,100. He's playing good minutes. The production's just not there. I'm not super into him, but this is a good matchup for Fultz. He's averaged 26 against the Wizards so far this season. At 5,100, he could be a 27-point guy. I would only want to use it in tournaments, though. Isaiah Thomas struggled last time out. He's at 5,100. I do like using him here in this one, while Augustin at 45 is a good GPP guy if Gordo happens to be sidelined. Jordy McRae up to 5,800. That's because he dropped a casual 55 DraftKings points last game. He's averaging 29 over his last 5. And I think if Beal is out, he does become a pretty strong option because he's going to take shots. Well, Ish Smith at 44 is more just a GPP type of guy. As for the big mitten at 55, he did drop $700, which does make him more appealing in a Beal absence. We might not see him play those 15 minutes that he played last game. Maybe he goes back to 30 and he smashes that number. So he becomes also the GPP guy. I wouldn't really be buying massively into Garrison Matthews. Although at 3,400, if Beal is out, there's a lottery ticket option there because he will obviously get a few more minutes in Beal's absence. At shooting guard, Terry Ross is at 42. This guy is so up and down that it's hard to trust him in cash, but for tournament short, no worries. While Fournier is at 62, limited upside, but some cash value if Gordo happens to be ruled out. While Beal at 8,700, I'd be pretty cautious about using him. Troy Brown's at 55. I don't see the upside or the appeal. At small forward, Gordo is at 5,900. He's been giving us 30 a night, even including the game that he had to leave early with that Achilles injury. I like that price if he plays. And the matchup would be great if he plays, but we just don't know that. While Johnny Isaac at 66 would be really, really strong if Gordon is out as a solid floor cash option. For your big men, Nikola Vucevic is at 8,200. Lock it in. Cash, bang, let's go. Really, really good stuff there from him. And then on to Mo Bamba at 33. That's a no. Jan Mahinmi, who had a career night with 42 DraftKings points last time out. He's up to 5,300. That feels like it's getting a little bit high expectations for Ian in this one. I would be hesitant to use that. Same as Onzesh Pasechnik's at 3,500. Although Pasechnik's at 35, he's been like a 20-point-ish sort of guy a night. Limited upside, but can he get to that most nights? Maybe. I just think we can probably do better at that spot, while the composer John Williams will probably make another start at power forward with everybody still out for the Wizards, but he has not really put any sort of numbers up to get us excited at all. The next game, we are looking at the Portland Trailblazers, the New York Knickerbockers. Mallow returns to Madison Square Garden. The Blazers are 4-point favourites, and the total, Richie Benno.
2 for 222.
Yes, it's 222. Dennis Smith Jr. is questionable. Frank Ntilikina is questionable. Mario Hezonja in a revenge game is questionable.
It's me, Mario.
Damo Dotson is questionable. Iggy Brazdeikis is probable. Kevin Knox is probable. And Reggie Bullock, probable. I don't know if he's going to play, but he is probable, which is good to see after missing nearly all of this season. Well, actually all of this season with a neck injury. At point guard, I don't know what they're going to do with Kent Bazemore, whose minutes have been really down and he's been sucking. Anthony Simons' minutes have been coming up, so he's at 3,400. Simons can drop a 25 or a 27-point performance, which at 3,400 would work. It's only going to be for tournaments, while Lord Alfred Payton at 6,100. I think that is just a little bit too high for my tastes. Rowan Barrett Jr. is at 5,600. I like the upside there for Barrett, while McCullum at 6,800. He's been giving us around 35 a night, which gives him pretty strong value against the Knicks. Lillard's at 9-2. The only risk, I guess, you have is a blowout, but the Blazers haven't been really that good to blow teams out, especially on the road here. Lillard's been giving us 48 a night over the last 5. He should be getting close to that number. Ntilikina will not be getting close to that number. Damian Dotson's at 32. That's cool. While Kent Bazemore's at 4,200, and his production has been pretty piss poor. Previously, 3,400 for Gary Trent Jr., 22 minutes last game for Gaza. He had 19 points in that one. Still not really a high volume producer, but I think the role for him is starting to increase, and it's at least a name to watch. Marcus Morris had 57. His numbers have been well down. Under 30 minutes a game, not chucking up every shot under the sun, which is great for the Knicks in general, but it's not good for his fantasy value, while Mallow has also been stinking. 21 points over the last 3. At 5,900, I think that this matchup's okay for Mallow. I think he's worth at least looking at in the tournament, but the crazy shooting, the crazy defensive numbers have fallen away as per Mallow's career. Kevin Knox, the fort, yeah, that's a no from me. Add to the big man, Big Mitchie Robinson.
And Mitch Robinson says, I'll take it from here.
He goes up against Hassan Whiteside. Whiteside's up at 8,300. That's a lot, but he's putting up the numbers, so it's really hard to disagree. While Robbo at 6,300, now we know centers against the Blazers, big numbers generally come. 6,300, he can smash it or he could shit on it. So I think it's got to be just a tournament play for him. Julius Randle playing so much better under an actual real NBA coach. $8,000 for Randle. He's averaging 53 over the last 3. No reason to think he can't get to 40 in this game, which is all he really needs. I like him here in this one. He was dreadful to begin the season, but things have turned around under a coach who is below average. That's really all you need to do to be a step up from David Fizdale. Taj Gibson continues to start, so don't know about that. While Punch Bob's at 4,400, that's going to be a pretty hard no from me. Let's go on to the next one. The Minnesota Timberwolves, the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo has cropped up on the injury report as probable with his back issue, while Wes Matthews is questionable again. If Matthews is out, we're going to see the big Ragu start again, most likely. Dante DiVincenzo at shooting guard. For the Wolves, there is no Andy Wiggins. There is no Karl Anthony Towns. Jeff Teague, who left last game
My name is Jeff.
with a knee issue, looked bad, got up, walked off, came back into the game. Now he's doubtful with a knee sprain. Why did he come back into the game? Why is this continuing to happen? Players go to the locker room and go, shit, that looks bad. And they come back in, and the next day they appear on the injury report and he's going to miss a game. It's foolishness. Noah Vonleh also on the injury report is questionable, as is Trevion Graham. Both of those guys missed last game. So there's some real opportunities here. Is it going to be Keelan Martin with another start? Most likely. Will we get Naz Reid stepping into Vonleh's minutes? Most likely. Gorgie Jeng in place of Towns again. Shabazz Napier is going to have to handle a pretty large load.
Giggity!
Even Geordie McLaughlin might come up with Teague, unlikely to play, and he had a couple of decent games earlier this season. So, in essence, it's a shit show. For the big Ragu, he's at 4,000. Only 14 minutes last game. Only 14 DraftKings points in 26 minutes. Replacing Wes Matthews. I think it is some marginal tournament value, but it's not that high. 5,500 for Eric Bledsoe. He dropped 30 in the first game back. The Minnesota Timberwolves level of resistance not all that high. I think he's more of a tournament sort of a player here. Well, Jarrett Culver at 48. Really good from him last game. Took a lot of shots, and then the opportunity it looks like is going to be there again, so I don't dislike it. I actually think it's not a bad option given the situation. While Napier at 58, big price rise for both Napier and Culver, $1,100 price rise for both of those guys. Shabazz is at 5,800. I like his opportunity with Teague out. George Hill, that's going to be a no from me. While Geordie McLaughlin's at 33. Last time we played, he had 35 points in that game against the Warriors. That's probably asking for a little bit too much, but he can do it, and that just took 22 minutes. At shooting guard, Chrissy Middleton, 75. He's just a walking 40-pointer at the moment, so we like that. Kyle Korver, no thank you. Wes Matthews, Pat Connaughton, Josh Okogie, woof. On to the small forwards. Big Yanni, 11,200. Will he need to play even 20 minutes in this game? The answer to that is probably yes. Will he play more than 25? That's where the hard line gets set. I would leave Yanni alone, especially if he's dealing with the back issue. Graham at 3,000. Unless they're paying me $3,000, I probably wouldn't use him. While Bob Covington at 57, I like it. With Wiggo and Towns and Teague out, we see Covington's minutes go up, his production goes up. This is a good spot for Bob Covington. For your big blokes, Gorgie Jeng's at 6,400. Why not? Because he's putting up 40 a game. That is great value. Noah Vonleh is at 31. If Vonleh does play with his gluteal issue, at 3,100, he should be a 20-plus point guy, which gives him significant value, but we don't know that at this point. I didn't mention Keelan Martin. He's at 4,000. Absolutely, he's worth a look in this scenario, given the injuries. Ersan Ilyasova has been putting up big numbers. It's really hard to rely upon that, but at $5,000, he had 32 last game in 19 minutes. It's tough. If there's any indication that Yanni is out, then Ersan is absolutely a must-roster guy. While Brook Lopez at 54, I think we can probably do a little bit better, but I reckon his floor value is pretty decent in this one. Let us go on to the last game of the night, the Phoenix Suns and the Los Angeles Lakers. Anthony Davis has appeared on the injury report as probable with that right shoulder. We're going to see that a lot of times this season, would be my guess. The Lakers are 11-point favorites, while Frank the Tank Kaminsky is questionable. Now, he was probable for last game and then didn't play. We saw a lot of those minutes go to Kelly Oubre and McCall Bridges. None of them went to Dario Saric because they hate him. So I don't think there's much to see here with Frank. Will Ayton get the start over Baines? I would have to imagine yes. At point guard, Rondo's at $4,000. Yeah, that's no. LeBron, 10,300.
LeBron James.
Yeah, I love it. He's a 50-point guy. We know that. That's really, really strong value for LeBron in that one. While Devin Booker at 7,400. Don't care about the defense. That is a super cheap price for Booker. So let's go ahead and smash. Rick Rubio at 7,000. Love that value for Ravishing Rick as well, who's averaging 39 over his last 5. While the big sexy Alex Caruso's not really getting it done. Nor is Avery Bradley, but that's to be expected. At shooting guard, McCall Bridges is at 3,500. He had 25 in 31 minutes last game. There is some value in him here, especially with Kaminsky dealing with that knee, while Dan Green is giving us a whole bunch of nothing nearly all the time, while KCP, my mate, KCP had 30 last game. He's at 4,200. I wouldn't want to get excited about using Caldwell Pope in a lineup, but he's playing well, and you can't argue with that. He's going to get more minutes than Bradley most nights. I don't feel super good about it. For your small forwards, the future MVP, Kyle Kuzma, will he give you 30 or will he give you 7? And they are not me pulling numbers out of my ass, because that's what he's done the last 2 games. Really hard to get excited about using him outside of tournaments. Cam Johnson's minutes are dropping down. If we're going to the real big sexy, Kelly Oubre at 6,500. He just dropped a casual 40 last game. He's putting up numbers. The minutes are up. This matchup's a tough one, and he has been relatively inconsistent, but I don't think we should shy completely away from him. If we're going to shy completely away from somebody, it's Dario Saric, who had 4 points in 17 minutes. For your big man, Dwight Howard's at 3,800. I think there's cash value in that. Get me 20, that's fine, and then build around it. Tone Davis, 9,900. Smash, smash, smash. Ayton's at 67. I really like that for Ato. I don't think he'll have the combination of returning from injury, coming off the bench, and foul trouble. All 3 of those things plagued him last game, and it will be better in this one, most likely. While Bainesy and JaVale McGee, even if they start, they're not guys that I think we need to get too excited about. Let's now move on and just have a quick sneak peek at some FanDuel numbers. I like LeBron and Davis and Lillard and Vooch, Hassan, Devin Booker. They all have some pretty decent value over on the old FD site. DeAndre Ayton, Mitchie Robinson, Barrett and Bledsoe and Isaiah Thomas. There's quite a few guys over there, I think, that come out looking pretty good. You can have a look at all my projections, of course, over on Basketball Monster. I hope you guys had a great New Year's Eve. I hope you guys are in one piece and you didn't piss away your life savings in booze and expensive cocktails. If you did, you can get this podcast for free anyway. Subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. Guys, we are done here for the first time in 2020. See ya. Deng Adele.